Blunty the Dense strikes again. And no, I don't have a hate boner for the guy. I've watched some of his content and found it to be alright. It's just that every now and then he says something kind of dumb, and I won't be responding to this entire video, just one short portion. So yeah, let's see how he put his foot in his mouth this time.
You'll see them sort of pairing up the Ryzen 5 chips with sort of overclocked Titan X and Titan XPs and 1080 Ti's and all that sort of stuff. Just massively sort of overcompensating with the GPU in an effort to try and isolate that bottleneck in the system so they can see what the CPU does specifically.
And that's because they're reviewing the CPU, Blunty. They aren't saying, oh hey look, here's my Ryzen 5 mid-range gaming PC. They're reviewing the CPU specifically. And when you do that, you should show what it can do at its absolute limit, while eliminating as many bottlenecks as possible. This is part of the reason why some folks were upset with AMD for showing 4K gaming tests when they were showing off the Ryzen 7 chips prior to launch. Because there was a GPU bottleneck introduced by running the games at 4K, it skewed the performance results and made it look like Ryzen was neck and neck with Intel's offerings when they actually weren't. It's just a poor way to test out these kinds of things.
And that's all well and good. The videos are going to be very interesting. They're going to be full of charts and bar graphs and things like they always are, but I've always found that kind of dry and a bit boring.
Don't forget accurate and informative.
I, however, like to approach things, as many of you already know, in a real-world sense. What is this thing going to actually do being used, how people actually use this thing in the real world?
That's all well and good. You show off your mid-range, real-world scenario kind of build. But don't set up on your pedestal and act as though the reviewers who are showing the chip's maximum performance are somehow wrong, inaccurate, or fake.
No one, practically speaking, is going to buy a Ryzen 5 chip and pair it up with a Titan XP. It's just not going to happen. That's a stupid way to try to range your system. People who invest money in 1080 Ti's and Titan XPs are going to match it with a rig that has an i7 in it or a Ryzen 7 in it. Just, if you're going high-end, you should go high-end all the way.
Just thought I'd point out that in quite a few gaming benchmarks, there's actually not very much of a difference at all between these mid-range Ryzen 5 chips and the Ryzen 7 chips. Mainly due to how a lot of games being tested can't utilize all of those threads. So high-end, mid-range doesn't matter that much with Ryzen when it comes for purely gaming. I suppose you could just argue that people with the money to buy a Titan or a 1080 Ti would also splurge on a Ryzen 7, and I suppose that's true. But you're arguing from the angle of real-world performance, and in terms of real-world performance, well, your point is moot.
So with an eye towards the real world and the kind of rig real people will really be building in the real world to do real things with, that's how I built this rig.
That's real interesting, and I'm real excited to see your real-world performance rig. For real, man.
When you're talking about a rig like this that real people are going to be really using in the real world, the video card there is an MSI Gaming X GTX 1060, which is kind of it's a really nice sweet spot for 1080p gaming. And let's face it, if you are building a gaming rig with a Ryzen 5 chip in it, chances are you are targeting 1080p gaming. And yes, that means in several instances, the GPU is going to be a bottleneck to what the CPU is trying to do.
You can wrap your head around that, yet you still shit-talk these other review videos. There's nothing wrong with the so-called fake builds that they use for testing. They just want to demonstrate something a little different from that real-world, real gaming PC that real people use shtick that you're offering from up on your pedestal. But hey, whatever, man. You do you. Cheers.